Awesome. Okay. Fabulous. Okay, we're recording. Happy Sunday, everybody. Thank you for coming along. I know a few of you from the chat because we're always chatting away. Hopefully you can hear me okay, but my name is Emma. And we're going to do a lovely 60-minute chilled flow. I mean, just, yeah, enjoy. There is no rush. We're just going to take our time, stretch as much as you wish. If you have any little niggles or anything that you're working with that you think, you know what, that stretch is not for me, absolutely just come out of it, chill out for a moment, lay down on the mat, or just, yeah, breathe. That's all we're doing. It's a bit of yoga, it's nothing serious, which is why we're all going to do it together and feel brilliant afterwards. Okay, awesome. We're going to start on our backs, everybody. So when you are ready, my loves, bring yourselves onto your backs. Oh, I should put the playlist in the thing, shouldn't I? Sorry, you can tell I haven't done this in a while. If you haven't already popped your playlist on, then I will just send that now. There we go. That's in the chat for you. You don't have music, up to you. But yeah, if you fancied it, it's there and you should have had it on the chat as well. So yeah, when you're ready, bring yourselves down to your mat. Legs can be straight out or maybe bent knees, whatever's more comfortable for you. Let your head rest back, arms can be however you wish. And we're just going to start out lying down because that is the best way to be. Don't mind me as I move towards or away from the camera, by the way, just stay as you are. Awesome. Okay. So from here, if you haven't already, close those eyes. Let's just give us a few minutes to settle in. Just chilling out on your mat. Nothing else you need to be doing, nowhere else you need to be. Staying here for a bit. Start to notice your breathing. Maybe it's a little fast, maybe it's a little slower than usual. You don't need to change anything right now. Maybe you're breathing through the nose, through the mouth. Just start to notice those teeny little things like your shoulders maybe lifting, your tummy rising, your chest rising. And just slowly starting to melt into your mat a little bit. So before we take any movement, just being heavy, letting the whole body relax, even our fingers, our toes. Staying here for a couple more minutes. Just trying to get a bit more of a connection to your breathing before we do anything else. Letting go of any other thoughts that start to drift into the mind every single time you feel yourself clinging back onto the things you haven't done today or things you need to do tomorrow. Just start to come back to your breath in, breath out. And then while we are laying down, it's a nice opportunity for us to take a bit of a scan through the body, And maybe you feel completely rested and everything just feels ready and open to stretch. Maybe as you're scanning through from the crown of the head down to the tips of your toes, you feel like there are a few little, maybe some niggles that you want to stretch a little deeper into. And feel free to keep those in mind if you wish as we go through the next 60 minutes. Just to bring a little bit more focus, maybe some intention to what we're going to do. If you're just here, is all over yoga chills, that is fine. Slowing down your breathing now if it hasn't already. So trying to breathe in for 4, out for 4. Absolutely not any judgment if that's not working for you. No need for you to put that on yourself. You can breathe in a little quicker, a little slower. Just take your time. One more full breath in. Full breath out. Slowly starting to reach your hands behind you, reaching your toes ahead, stretching it either end of the body, really reaching. And then bring everything in. So knees hugging in towards the chest. Give yourself a big squeeze, a well-deserved cuddle. Draw in those shins, maybe rock left and right. Doesn't matter how close in our legs are to us right now. Good. And then if your strap or your band or anything that you're using isn't too close for you, just bring it in reaching distance. And then let the left leg come out long in front of you, keeping your right knee in towards that chest. Let's just start to take some rolls with this knee. So moving it in one direction, working into our hips. I know there are a few requests for hips and back, so we have absolutely got you. Taking those circles, really try and make them as big as you can, even though you're still hugging that knee in. So we're not just doing tiny little things that aren't really doing a lot for us. We're actively stretching through this right leg. Good, nice. Okay, bringing your knee to still. Let's take it over to the left. So using your left hand on top of the right knee, just start to guide that knee across the body. Doesn't matter where it gets to, but we're trying to feel a stretch down the lower back, maybe into the glutes. And let's start to look over the right shoulder even. Maybe stretch the arm out if you have the space. If not, just have a little bend at that elbow. Let's just hold here a couple breaths. So every time we breathe in, we can create a bit of space. And every time we breathe out, we can use that space just to soften and release. That's exactly what we're going to do in our postures today. Good. More deep breath here, maybe pressing a little further onto that leg, giving yourself a little assist or adjustment to aid your stretch, go a little deeper. Slowly bringing your knee back up to the top. And taking hold of your strap, or if you're not going to use a strap, just pop your hands around your thigh or your calf. I'm going to put this strap around my foot because I've got a bit more room with it. If you have a loop on your band, then you can do the same. And we're just reaching those feet up towards the top, towards the ceiling. So parallel foot to the top of the room. And then drawing either in on your thigh if you're using your hands or in on your strap. Just start to ease into those hamstrings, drawing the leg a little closer to you. Now, as with every stretch, it's going to look different on everybody. So it doesn't matter how close your leg or your knee is. We just want to feel that stretch on the back of the hamstring. So we know we're putting that extra bit of tension there, and that's going to release a little bit more. Really pressing your heel away. At any time, if it gets too much, just take a bend of the knee or release a little. As before, breathing in, breathing out, using your breathing to aid your stretches. Good. Okay, one more deep breath here. And then we're going to take a little turn of this leg. So if you do have a strap, it's going to be a little bit more, a little bit easier for you. We're just going to hold on to that strap or hold on to your leg with your right hand. Let the left hand come on top of your left hip, just so that we're pressing down a little bit on this hip. Then opening your right leg, sorry, not right arm, over to the right. Now this might be minuscule, a really, really tiny movement. What we're doing is just trying to open up the inside of the thigh a little bit. Try and keep your face pointing upwards, so we're looking towards the ceiling. You might find that your leg starts to wander off. Oh, my straps come out. You might find that your leg starts to wander off as gravity draws it closer to the ground. That is A-okay. Take your time, maybe draw it back up if it's too much. Good. Slowly bringing the leg up to the top again. And we're going the opposite direction. So left hand now onto your strap or onto the thigh or the hamstring. And then easing your leg over to that left side. Now this one, what we're trying to do is get deep stretch on the outside of this right thigh. So you might have to press a little further away with the heel. If you don't have the room, don't worry, because often we don't even cross over the hips too much. Keep drawing that right hip down towards the mat. Really sucking it as close as you can towards the floor. One more deep breath. And release, juicy stretch that one. Let go of the strap if you have it. The bend of that right knee. Finishing up with a half happy baby on this side. So bringing your foot parallel to the ceiling, right hand coming to the outside edge of this right foot. And we're really drawing that right knee in towards your armpit. Good. Now we will repeat this, and I promise you'll feel the difference. Maybe have some rocks here if that feels good. If stillness isn't working for you today, then feel free to move in any of our postures. Good. Let's release that right leg. Same thing on the left side now. Right leg's going out ahead of us. Left knee is hugging in close. You might already feel a little bit of a tingling down that right leg. Let's take those circles with the left knee. Again, really drawing up through the hips. So we're not just taking some circles without any real meaning, but we're actively stretching, almost like we're drawing up and out from the hip bone a little bit, working into those joints, getting that mobility through the hips. Taking it in an opposite direction if you haven't already. Good. Slowly coming to still, moving into our twist, right hand on top of the left knee, gently just drawing that knee over to the right side as you gaze over your left shoulder. Nice. Now from here, try and really keep those shoulders on the mat. So if you feel like one of your shoulders is starting to lift, maybe you need to lift your knee up a little bit. Good stuff. Nice, Emily. Nice, Chloe. We're going to take 2 more deep breaths here. Can you soften further through your next exhale? Maybe that means staying exactly as you are with no movement, but starting to let some of the tension release. It's not always about going further in a stretch, but you might be feeling quite different. And release. Release, bringing your knee up to the top. Again, let's take hold of our strap, maybe popping it around the foot, maybe just using our hands on the back of the thigh. Lifting your foot up towards the ceiling. Starting out with this deep hamstring stretch. So if your hands on your thigh, we're just gently easing that knee in. If your hands are on a strap, it's like you're drawing a foot, as if it's going to go way behind you. Wherever you're feeling that stretch, and absolutely ease off if you need. One more deep breath here. Maybe you can take that knee a little bit closer to you. Maybe you can ease off. And then taking our lateral movement, so sending your leg out to the left, starting with that inside thigh. Right hand coming onto the right hip to keep it down towards the mat. Just opening up through those thighs. Don't forget to breathe in and out, slow rhythm, just so you had at the beginning. Gently making your way back through the top. Let's switch our hands over. Right hand onto your strap or your thigh. Left hand coming down to your mat. Just slowly working that left leg over to the right side now. And just like in that twist a moment ago, we're trying to still keep those shoulders on the mat. So if you feel like your whole body is suddenly rolling over to the right, then just lift your leg up a little bit. While it is fun just to roll around, it may not be getting the stretch we want to. Anyone with some tight IT bands, you're probably feeling this just as much as I am. 2 more breaths here. Keep sending the heel away, drawing your hip down. And gently lift that leg back up. Letting go of the strap if you had it. You can pop that to the side. Hugging your left knee in that half happy baby again. So holding onto the outside edge of your left foot. Drawing the knee close to the shoulder or the chest. Foot parallel to the ceiling. Finding that extra space. Deep breath here. Good, release. Hug both knees in now, give them a release. Soften through the legs, the hips. Give yourself a cuddle, rocking left and right. And then gliding your hands around the back of the knees. Let's start to rock forwards and backwards. Little rocks to start with, and then we'll build up to bigger ones to come all the way up to seated. Crossing your legs at the top. Hello, we're awake again. Good, we're just going to stretch our hands forwards. So fingertips out ahead of you, let the chest come down. Slight tuck of your chin. As we're reaching those hands out ahead of us. Finding some length through the back. Trying to keep those hips or seat bones on the floor. And let's walk our hands over to the left. Getting a lovely side stretch. Again, still drawing your bottoms back. You start to lift on one side. Maybe you start to see that your knees move. Then just ease off. And then walking your hands all the way back through the front. Taking yourself over to the right. Notice here if one side's tighter than the other. You often have those imbalances. In fact, we almost always have those imbalances. are not perfectly balanced. Softening into those stretches as you breathe. Walking your arms back towards the front. And then in towards you, just slowly curling up to seated. Unravel those shoulders. We're going to do all of that. Well, not all of that, but that last bit again, but we're going to switch the legs over first. So bring the foot that was in front behind. Good. It probably already feels a little bit funky. That is okay. And then when you're ready, start walking the hands out ahead. Fingertips drawing forwards, chin slightly tucked. Using that non-natural, unnatural cross of the legs can make things very unusual. It's so worthwhile to stretch a bit. Let's walk those hands over to the left side. To draw shoulders down. Good, walking all the way through the front and then over to the right. Staying here for 3 more breaths. Let's see how we're all doing. Good. Nice. Well done, everyone. Walking your hands back through the center and then rolling yourself nice and slow up to seated. Roll those shoulders back, lift through the crown of the head. We'll keep that slightly odd cross of the legs as we take a side stretch. So right hand for you guys, I'm doing left arm reach, sorry, right hand to the mat is what I meant, left arm reaching up. Now from here, take a small bend at that right elbow. Again, trying to keep your bottoms on the mat. So if you start to completely lean over, we're going to reduce the stretch a little bit. And we really want to find our edge here. So you might even be worthwhile to kind of pulse a little bit. So we're reaching with the fingertips, finding that lovely stretch on the side of the body. If you want to stay still, that is fine. But I often find here, it's quite nice to have a bit of movement and to kind of pulse into it. And then you end up with a nice reach and all that length through the shoulder. Here, gently way back at the top. Left hand coming down, right arm sweeping high. Again here, maybe taking that pulse, maybe the bend of the elbow. Really drawing over. If you wish, taking your gaze up towards the elbow as well. Breathe here. Nice. Gently lifting up all the way back to seated. Take a roll of the shoulders, chin down to your chest. Let's just rock our necks left and right, taking some semicircles. Good, and then hands down in front, rolling up and over our knees. Now, if that is uncomfortable, absolutely just take those legs out to the side. We're meeting in an all fours position. Good. If all fours is not comfortable for you, feel free to pop a little cushion underneath your knees, or you can just kind of fold your mat over itself and create a bit of a loop on the mat for some extra padding. So, a little mat hack for you. When you are ready, we're going to move into some moving cat-cows. So I would say untuck those toes, maybe walk your hands a little bit further forwards. And we're just going to start to curl through the back as you bring your bottom nearer to your heels. And then as you come forwards, keep that arch and curl through the spine. And then slowly, just a little bit, start to lower your hips, raise your chest. So not too much. We're going to ease ourselves into it, taking quite a few of these. Curling as you come backwards. Lifting up through that curl As you reach towards the top of the mat, open the chest a little bit, lower the hips. Good. And then every time we do this now, we're going to move a centimetre or two further into the stretch. So maybe hips go a little lower, chest raises a bit more. So you'll see it's not quite a cat-cow, it's more of a child's pose into an up dog. So we're just finding the space, moving to your own rhythm. If you want to move a bit faster than me, a bit slower, that is fine. Trying to breathe out as you come back now. Breathing in to roll your way forwards. Maybe hips go a little lower towards the mat, just fully opening up to the front. We'll take 2 more wherever you are in your pace. Good. When you have finished your set, just come back to meet in our all fours position. Wrists under those shoulders, knees under your hips. Feel free to have a wiggle around here, shake the hips left and right. And then let's get into our shoulders before we do anything else. So reaching your right arm up. Take a big breath in at the top. As you breathe out, thread that right arm underneath the left, drawing your right shoulder down towards the mat, maybe your right ear as well. Now from here, just like those other postures, keep reaching your right fingers. So again, we're not just sitting on the mat and kind of folding over ourselves and not doing much. We're really, really trying to extend through that right hand, find some space through the back, through the shoulder blades. Every time you breathe, you want to get just a little bit further into this stretch. It's okay if it feels a bit tough because we're working towards our edges. We're building that mobility. One more breath here. Hips staying high. Slowly coming all the way out. Let that right hand rest down. Have a little shake through the shoulders. And then left arm, reaching all the way up, breathing in at the top. Exhale, threading the left underneath the right. Again, shoulder towards the mat, reaching the hand away, finding some space through the shoulder blade, working into this stretch. Good, 2 more deep breaths. And start to lift. Slowly unravel. Give your shoulders a shake. Bit of a roll left and right, up and down. Nice. Okay, tuck those toes underneath you now. Bring your bottom back towards your heels, pressing into your hands, slowly lifting up to our downward dog, pedaling out through the feet, really drawing your heels down, but it doesn't matter if they reach the mat or not. Good, and we're gonna hold this for a moment, just because I know a couple of you said that you wanna look at your down dogs a bit and just see what you're doing, any little tips. So the main thing I would say, if you having a few problems with gripping onto your mat, then really try and press into the fingertips. So you want your thumb and your first finger to really be drawing close to the mat, like you can't lift them up. And then our hips are going as high as possible, whether we have bent knees, straight legs. The main thing, our priority in our down dog is to bring those hips up and get some length through the back. Good. Okay, deep breath here. Feel that lovely stretch through the calves, through the ankles. Start to lift through your right leg, stepping all the way forwards to the outside of the right hand. Lowering the left knee down on top of your toes. Take a deep breath in here, lift the chest, maybe come onto your fingertips. Slowly start to draw the chest down. So just holding here for a moment with bent elbows, maybe taking some rocks, some sways, drawing our right knee out to the side, getting some space into our hips. We're going to be in variations of this for a little while. So feel free to move, to wiggle, to rock as much as you need. Good. Okay, just start to walk that foot in a little bit closer to the middle of your mat. And then bringing your hands up onto this thigh, we'll lift ourselves up into a low lunge. Bringing yourself up so your legs are about 90 degrees and 90 degrees. Good. Take a deep breath in at the top here. As you breathe out, start to bend that knee a little bit further forward, stretch into those hips. Coming back up all the way, breathe in. Exhale, sinking forward and down. Squeezing through the glutes here. Breathe in. Exhale, lower. Now starting to bring a bit more movement in at the bottom. So maybe taking some circles with your knee when you reach the bottom of that lunge. Inhale to the top. Exhale, find that space, circle through the knee, lifting up. Taking the other direction if you have not already. Good. And again, at your own pace, if that's slightly faster, slightly slower than mine, please carry on. Couple more of these lunges. Working into those hips, finding some space through this right side when we turn open the knee. Good, meeting back at the top in that 90 and 90. And then just turning your right toes out to face the side of the mat a bit more. Maybe walk the foot out a little bit, so a bit of an angle with this front leg. And again, coming down into that lunge, but this time we're stretching more through the inside of the thigh. Taking those pulses or rocks, whatever you want to call them. Working your way forwards and backwards. Good, coming back to the top, heel toe that foot into the middle of the mat. Bringing your fingertips down, start to stretch your hips back. So moving into our half splits. Now from here, I often talk about lifting up those toes, but I want to work on our ankles a little bit before we do that. So using your ankles only, and it's very easy to use the hips, I promise you. We're going to try and draw semicircles on the mat or above the mat with our toes. So that just means we're stretching through those ankles. Good, I know it's really tough. We never do this enough. Going one way a few times and then changing direction. Draw those toes down, really pointing through the feet. We never stretch our feet enough, do we, as runners? When you've done the same on each side, lift up those toes and then deep breath in, lift the chest a little bit. Exhale, folding your chest a little bit closer towards the knee. Good, making your way forward, foot planting down, hands to the top of your mat, tucking left toes, and then step straight back into our downward dog. Again, have a little pedal out with the feet, maybe roll the shoulders a bit. Still gripping with those hands. And when we're in our down dog, trying to gaze up between your thighs. Good, let's go with the left side, leg coming forwards, foot planting gently to the front, outside that left hand, right knee lowering, untuck your toes, take a deep breath in through the chest. Exhale, folding the chest down, maybe a little bend in the elbows, maybe some rocks. Maybe you want to turn onto the outside of that left foot and really open the knee up. Good stuff. Staying here for 2 more breaths and then we'll come up into that 90-90 lunge position. When you're ready, making your way up, hands coming onto your thigh. Maybe you need to walk your foot a little bit closer in. Good deep breath at the top. Breathing out, send those hips forwards. Squeezing the glutes here. So it's not just, again, relaxing in those joints, but using our muscles. Breathe in at the top. Breathe out, come down. Good. In and out, take it at your own rhythm. Maybe those circles, doing a couple one way, a couple the other. Finding the space. That extra movement through the knee. Good, when you're ready, we'll start to walk those left toes out to the side of the mat. Just taking that extra Stretch through the inside of the thigh, through those abductor muscles. Nice. Again, doesn't matter how low you get here, it's feeling that stretch. So really try and remember how that feels here right now. And heel toe the foot to the middle of the mat. Fingertips coming down to frame the foot, extending your hips back. Again, with those weird semicircles with the toes, drawing that circle with the ankle. Try and keep hip in line. 3 one way, 3 the other. This requires a lot of concentration, I know. Really trying to move that ankle joint, getting some extra mobility there. We're going to work on every single one of those running steps. Going to help us. You might get some clicks and clunks here, by the way, that's okay. Lifting up your toes when you're ready. Keep that fold forward, take a breath in, raise the chest slightly. Exhale, fold closer towards the knee. One more deep breath here. Slowly soften through the shoulders. They're not bunched up by the ears or through the neck. And then making your way forwards. Plant those hands down, tucking your right toes now. Step back to high plank, to your downward dog, sorry. And just widen out those feet at the back a little bit. Turn the toes to face the edges of your mat. And then walking your hands back towards the feet. As you do, start to bend through the knees and lower your bottoms down into a squat. Good. Now from here, it's absolutely fine if you're up on your tiptoes. No worries. If you are, maybe see if walking the feet out a little bit wider is going to help. If not, that's fine. You can stay as you are. Just really try and roll the shoulders back. So you might need to balance more with your hands on the mat, but we're still growing tall through the crown of the head. If you're not on your tiptoes and you're on flat feet, same thing. So lift through the chest. Maybe some rocks left and right. Again, working into your ankles here, so important. Good, and again, we'll repeat this. We'll feel a difference, I'm sure. And let's start to make our way forwards. So slowly starting to extend through the legs as you walk the hands out back to your downward dog. Lifting your hips up, straight away stepping forward with our right foot. This time planting the foot in between your hands. Good, moving up into our high lunge. So when you're ready, sweeping your arms up to the top. Front knee is bent, left heel pressing back and away from us. Arms reaching high. Good. Let's just test where our hips are. So if you send the left arm forward straight ahead of you, you want your hips to be facing exactly that same way here. Lift that arm back to the top. Keeping your arms lifted, take a deep breath in. Start to straighten through this right leg. As you breathe out, come back into the lunge. 2 more of those. Breathing in, lift up. Breathing out, come down. Working a bit on our balance too. Last one, breathe in. And breathe out. Good, coming back to that straight leg at the top. And then folding the upper forwards. So trying to bring your fingertips either down onto your mat or maybe just on your shin. If that is too much, maybe just walk that back a little bit closer to you or take a small bend in the right knee. Breathe in here. Breathing out, fold closer to this leg. One more breath in. Exhale out. Bending into this right knee. Hands planting down. Stepping back, this time into a high plank. And then we're going to turn into a side plank, starting out by putting both edges, or the edges, sorry, of each foot onto the right side. And then sweeping your left arm all the way up and over. One big circle with that left hand. Good, bring it back down. Repeating on the other side. So turning your feet over to the left. Bring the right arm all the way back and then all the way forwards. Reaching with the fingertips. Bring it down and then reach back with the hips into our down dog. Don't worry if that one didn't quite work out for you. We're going to repeat it in a moment. The left leg now reaching forward, step that foot down ahead of us. Breathing in to lift up into our high lunge, arms are reaching up, back heel pressing down. That little test for the hips. So send your right arm forwards, glutes engaged, hips facing the same way. Bring your arm back to the top. Good, and then those little extensions, start to breathe in as you straighten through the left leg. Exhale, sink low. Finding more room in the hips every time. Breathe in, lift up. Exhale down. Good, last one, breathe in, lift up. Exhale down. Nice. Straightening again through that left knee. Reaching forwards. Letting the fingertips come onto the mat, maybe your shin, maybe you walk that back foot to touch closer. Folding towards your left leg. Trying to keep the length through the back. Soft through the shoulders, breathing steady. Bending into your left knee now, hands coming down around the foot. Step to our high plank. And again with those side plank little circles with the arms. So turning both feet over to the right. Left arm sweeping back behind us. All the way over to the front. Reach, and send it down. Switch over. Feet going over to the left. Right arm reaching back. All the way up. And then down. Lift those hips, downward dog. Have a rest, have a sip of water if you need, maybe just pedal out through the feet, the ankles. Maybe take a child's pose if you just need a moment. Reconnect with your breathing. Good. Okay, starting to bring your right leg forward now. Similar to what you just did, bring your foot between your hands. And then just bring that right hand to the inside of that right foot. Sending your right arm straight ahead of you. Good. So keep it reaching ahead. We're going to take a horizon lunge, which means we're going to turn all the way towards the right. So stay with me. Start to turn onto the outside edge of your left foot at the back. Turn onto the outside edge of your right foot at the front and turn your knee to face the side. Just turn around. That'll make it a little bit easier with it. And basically, we're going to send our right arm back and try and follow it with our gaze. So we end up with the left hip quite low in a big twist. Yes, we got there. Good. Bring yourself all the way back to the front. We'll do 2 more of those. Stay slow in that transition. Turning the feet first. Bringing the arm up and over. Keep the gaze following that right hand. Nice. Bring it all the way up. Last one. Take the arm back. Turning slowly. Holding it now. One deep breath. And bring it forwards. Well done. Hands to the mat. Moving into our pigeon, so our right ankle. Crossing over towards the left side. Shin coming down onto the mat. Just let that left knee come to the floor and then dropping or sending the left leg back. Now here again is where you might like a cushion to pop underneath your bottom. Pigeon looks so different on everyone. Maybe you need to wiggle the leg forwards, wiggle it back. Find a comfy position because we're going to stay here for a little bit longer. When you're ready, just take a deep breath in, lift through the chest. Exhale, begin to fold. Now maybe you get to a place in this fold where you think, yep, that is enough, I'm A-okay. Or maybe you want to go further, bring the arms out ahead of you. Wherever you get to, we're feeling a stretch through the hips, through the glutes. And any option is okay. Staying here for 5 slow breaths. Wherever you are, can you just soften into that one? As I said before, it doesn't mean you move any further into a posture. It might just mean that you feel a little bit of a release of tension, that things seem a little bit easier. Stay connected to your breathing. Two more deep breaths. Good, well done. Take it really slow as you start to lift your way back up. Hands to the mat, left toes tucking, right leg stepping back straight into our downward dog. That hip might feel a little bit funny, so maybe shake it out, do some circles. And then we'll move on to the left side, repeating exactly what we just did. Stepping forward with your left foot in between the hands. Just moving that left hand inside and then reaching your left arm all the way ahead of you. Taking that fun twist into our horizon lunge, starting with the feet, turn it onto the outside edges. Left knee starts to move a little bit, and then following our left arm as it turns back behind us. Good, bring yourself all the way forwards. Two more like that. Take it slow. Sometimes the best bits of our stretches are actually in the transitions. You never want to move too quickly through them. Bring it back to the front. Last one, turning the feet, following the arm. Notice if this side feels any different to last. Is it easier? Is it harder? Holding now. One deep breath. And make your way back to the front. Good, hands coming down. Give those shoulders a little shake if they're anything like mine. Need a bit of easing up after all that. Good. And then we'll move into our pigeon. So just work that foot over to the right wrist. Right knee coming down. Send the leg backwards. Find your pigeon, maybe pop that cushion underneath you. Good. Wherever you went to last time, try and take the same variation here. So whether that's foot slightly further forward, slightly further back. Take a breath in at the top. And then exhale as you fold down. Going back to the place you were at a moment ago. Staying here for 5. Close the eyes. Two more slow, deep breaths. Can you breathe further into this stretch? Steadily bringing your hands back towards you. Planting them down on the mat, tucking your right toes under. Lifting, lengthening with that left leg, send it back to your down dog. Pedal out the feet, maybe shake through that hip again. Just take a moment. If it feels a bit tingly, that's normal. Good. Take a big bend of those legs now. Look towards your hands. And let's just start to slowly walk our feet up to meet the hands at the front. Take a breath in, lift through the chest, roll the shoulders back, gaze forwards. Nice, exhale, slowly let the chest come down. 2 more like that. Breathing in, lift the head, lengthen the spine. Exhale, bring it down. Last one, breathing in. And breathing out. Good. Slight bend of the knee now as we uncurl our bodies all the way up to standing. Take it as slowly as you can. Tucking those hips underneath you as you roll through the spine. Shoulders rolling back and down, lifting up to standing. Well done. You just got one more standing stretch on both sides before we come down to our mats. I'm just going to start with a little banana stretch because it's always a fun thing to do, let's be honest. So bring your left leg behind you, just pop it out to the side. And then bringing your left arm, up above you, right hand to your hips. And sending your hips out to that left side. So we're in that curved shape, just to stretch open. If that feels like it's twinging anywhere, a bit tight, maybe ease off. We don't want to put too much weight in that back foot either, so we're trying to put a little bit more weight into this front foot. Good, release, come back through the middle, shake it out. We'll go the other way, right leg behind us. Just toes on the mat if you can. Left hand to your hip, right arm reaching up and over. Really pressing those hips away from us. Finding that lovely, lovely curve. Like we're curling around a beach ball. And release, hand coming down. Untuck those toes, interlace your hands behind you now. Big roll of the shoulders, lift of the chest. And we'll fold forwards, leading with your chest. Letting the whole body fall forward over the legs. Arms coming up and over, whether they're an inch off the back or all the way above the neck. Let's release some of that stress, tension in the chest. Everyone's sitting behind a keyboard for most of the week. This hopefully feels great. Take a deep breath. As you breathe out, can you just release that teeny, teeny bit more? And then unravel those fingers. Bring them down towards the mat. Walking hands forward a little bit, maybe your legs back a bit. Coming into our high plank. Don't worry, we're not staying here. Lower those knees. Untuck your toes, bring yourself back to a child's pose. Bottom to heels, arms reaching forwards, head tucked, just between the arms. Be heavy here, just let your body melt down. Starting to bring yourself up, nice and slow, making our way to seated. Rolling up to the chest, keeping your knees on the mat, so we're still kneeling down. And then I have one more funky stretch for us before we come on to one that might be known to us. So we're going to stretch again through the feet a little bit, but moving through a twist at the same time. So bringing your right hand behind you, fingertips maybe on the mat. If this is too much at any point, feel free to come out of it, maybe just stretch forward, have a little forward fold. You're going to bring your left hand onto your right knee. And a teeny little movement, bring that knee up. So the tops of our feet are on the mat. We're turning the chest to face the right side of our rooms. And we're lifting the right knee with the hand. You should feel a stretch across the front of the ankle. Maybe turning our gaze to face back, over the shoulder. And we'll release, don't want to hold that one too long. Come back to the front, switching over the other side. So right hand coming onto your left knee, left fingertips are behind us. Turning the body first, and then really gently starting to lift up through the knee, all the way down towards the foot. If you wish, taking your gaze back behind you. And release. Good, have a little shake out. Bring your hands to one side, legs going out the other way. Sending both legs ahead of us. Toes reaching away and then flexing them back. So send heels away from you. Breathe in, growing tall, reach the arms up. Exhale, start to reach forwards. Fingertips coming either onto your shins, maybe your ankles, maybe your toes or your feet. Maybe you want to use your strap again if you have it nearby. Just wrap it around those feet and then you can draw yourselves in. So taking this forward fold, Staying here for 3 deep breaths. Trying to keep our backs lovely and long. So even if we have our eyes closed, we want to think about sending our nose and our eyes beyond the toes. So really gazing up towards those toes, reaching the chest forward. One last breath here. Letting go of that connection with the feet or the ankles. Curling your way up to seated. Keep that little curl going as you come back down behind you, fingertips to the mat. Moving on to our forearms, coming into a fish pose. So we're wiggling our elbows underneath us, sitting on top of our fingertips. Point through the toes, give your shoulders a lovely big roll, lift through the chest. Really puffing our chest out as much as we can. And then slowly let go. Let those elbows come out to the side. Wiggle your backs down to the mat. Bring the knees in, give yourself a big squeeze. Finishing up with a happy baby, because why not? We're going to bring the soles of each towards the ceiling. Hands coming onto the outside edge of each foot. Drawing our knees down towards our armpits and lengthening out through the tailbone. Maybe this feels quite different to when we started. Maybe one side feels unusual compared to another. Have some rocks here, have a play, stretch one leg, keep the other one bent. It's a happy baby, so do it with a smile. Awesome. And then when you are ready, we're going to let go of our legs, our feet, and bring ourselves gently down into a resting posture, just to stay still for our final few breaths. So again, whether that's legs out in front or knees bent, just bring your arms down beside you, palms facing high. Soft through those shoulders, close your eyes. If there are any other stretches that you feel you must do right now because your body needs it, then absolutely do those. Letting your breath go a little bit longer. Maybe coming back to those 4-second breath inhales, 6-second exhales. Melting into the mat. Maybe you want to focus on your pauses between your breath in, breath out. Just relax, soften, be heavy. Give yourself a bit of time to absorb all that movement, all those lovely releases we've just had through our postures. Big breath in through the nose, side out through the mouth. One more like that. Really exaggerate that breath in, breath out. Inhale and exhale. Wiggle through the fingers and toes. Roll ankles and wrists. Take a full body stretch. Take the arms back behind us. Reaching your toes away. Maybe a little yawn. And then hugging your knees in one more time. Give them a squeeze, rocking back and forth, side to side. Maybe curling your forehead up to meet the knees, tucking up like a tiny little ball. When you're ready, keeping your eyes closed, making your way up to seated, whatever comfortable seated position is for you, whether that's crossed legs or legs out in front or any other option. Let your hands just fall into your lap or maybe down by your sides. Give your shoulders a roll, grow as tall as you can through the spine. Take a deep breath in, deep breath out. Give yourself a huge well done for showing up, for doing all those stretches excellently, I might add. Bring a smile onto your face because it is the end of a wonderful week. You have done yoga, you've done everything you need to. Thank you very, very much, everybody. I hope you are feeling good. I don't know what else to say, really. I hope you're feeling great. That was lovely. If you have any feedback for me, then obviously let me know. It was lovely to be with you. Thank you, Lily. And yeah, I'll be back next month. So I hope you have a lovely rest of your evening, whatever you're doing next. Or maybe not evening, because you might be watching this on catch up, so who knows. But yeah, I will stop recording and then